So it'll move up higher, right?
Exactly. Once it hits 120.
58 Kilo Mike, Bolton Tower, runway 22, clear for takeoff, westbound departure.
He was going without us, that's okay. He had an appointment with his son up there, I think. All right, so now we're basically just waiting on the oil, but there's things we can be doing. So altimeter is, the field's really about 905, but the altimeter tends to up here from the runway, tends to run around 120. So it's going to be pretty close to 9 or 9 or 7. We'll see.
Okay.
It'll be within like a hundredth or two of that at the most. We can go ahead and put in a direct 2 so we have something we're aiming at. Oh, trim would stay down there and stay.
Where are you seeing your trim? Oh, right
there.
Yeah.
So anything having to do with navigation is going to be on the map. So map, direct 2, that's a universal symbol for direct 2. Also men's room. So I'll have a lot of places in my recent, and that's actually, that's Port Clinton. We're not going to go there. That's Zanesville. We're not going to go there. So I don't know if I have Portsmouth in here. So we'll go ahead and type it in. So I don't have it in the recent. So I'm going to go back to, I got to go up to, let's go back to the direct 2. Direct 2, get down here, back up here. You have to go back and come up. Takes a turn to get it working. Okay, so we're going to, we'll head towards PMH. Greater Portsmouth. So direct 2, and then back to get to the top menu, if you think of it. So now we have a course laid in. We're just waiting on the oil. We can actually be taxiing while we're waiting for the oil, and it shouldn't take very long since it's actually 72 degrees out. It's not too cold. We're up to 85 already. There's United Airlines taking off. UAL 1585.
Oh yeah.
We can back out, and actually we should be able to see that weather. Yeah, there it is. That's the weather we don't want to go near.
Is that going?
That's north.
Well, which way is the weather going? Is it?
It's traveling kind of basically east with maybe a touch of north or a touch of south. It's not coming down this way.
All right.
That's going to happen later in the day, more than like. But you got the bad stuff out here too. That's only Fort Wayne, and if that's moving fast, it'll be here today. So, but down south we're fine.
Okay.
So we'll head that way and see what happens. These stripes are just data that it hasn't picked up yet. We're sitting on the ground. So the antenna's right under your seat. So I'm lucky it gets anything at all before we're in the air. This damn thing. Oh, it is working. Okay. I'm surprised the camera's actually still working. All right. So we should say good morning to YouTube, because you know how much you like it when I talk to the camera. So this is a YouTube. This is Mike, and Mike found me in my YouTube videos, and now I was in a YouTube video. So that's got to kind of be like a meta thing, isn't it? It's
kind of strange.
It's like, wow, I didn't think I'd be on that side of it anytime soon. So looks like we're about ready to taxi. I didn't hear what runway he gave Mike. We can check the weather here if we've downloaded it yet. So that's going to be map, info, and weather. So this is how you move these over. I'm just moving that little tab.
All right, little joystick.
And we don't have the weather yet. So this is how you move things up and down. So we're a little early on the weather. AWAS won't work here because the tower is open. That only works when the tower is closed because there can only be one reporting.
Okay.
So a lot of people will say, hey, they'll call the tower, hey, the AWAS isn't working. Well, it's off while we're open because we are the weather authority from 7:30 to 7:30.
All right.
Unicom is the same as tower. Oh, no, it's not, actually. Oh, this is PMH. This isn't us. Yeah, because we don't even have an AWAS. We have something else. But, yeah, this is PMH. So we'll catch that about halfway down if we care. We'll find out if it's foggy yet or not, or still foggy or not.
That's Portsmouth, is that right?
Yeah, that's Portsmouth.
All right.
All right, so that's where we're headed, KPMH. So we're good on all that, so let's get out of that. So really, there's not much to do. We can let you taxi a little bit. We have some time since Mike's already gone. This has popped up, so it's probably going to be a little bit lower than that. Now I can actually go map info because I want information. I'm looking at PMH, but I maybe want to know what's happening here. So I can go back to recent or I can type it in, but KTZR is always going to be in my recent list. So I'm going to push this to the left.
All right.
There it is right there. I'm going to push that down. And now I'm looking at Bolton. So I can go out here to the weather. There's some, well, I still haven't got it. This wind's aloft, so we still don't have the weather yet.
Yeah.
This will tell us what the runways are. Remarks, there's a lot of deer and coyote. It says it right there. People don't believe me, but it says it right there.
Birds and deer and coyote.
Yep. And then this is the AWAS that's not open or not running when the tower is open. Ground we already have in here. Now what I could do, if I didn't have ground in here, let's pretend I don't. I can go to the ground and say tune comm, and I don't think this works on your airplane because there's a wire missing, but it could be put in. It may be there. You push that, and it goes into your standby. So we'll pretend that's not already there, and we'll bring that over. And then the next thing I'm going to want is tower. So I'll push that in there and then just leave it. And then this is Columbus approach and things like that. This is the ILS frequency, which is useless for me because I don't have a nav, but that's how I get that all set up. So we got all that set up. We got our comms all set up. And there's all our information, pattern, altitude, fancy stuff like that. Now what we want to do now, we want to go back to PMH because that's what we're going to be interested in next. So we'll put that back so we're not do what I just did, look at the wrong weather. So we got that going for us. And we'll go back up to the top page.
So you exit back, and then you always go back to that main page.
I try to because you're starting from a common place. I don't always do it, but I encourage people to do things that I don't do myself. That's called being a hypocrite, and you know it's practically my middle name. So we got 9 gallons. We'll go for about an hour, and if we buy gas, we'll come back and buy gas or go work on your plane, one or the other. We're almost to 120. We could taxi whenever we want. So you've got a lot of experience with tower control, or were you uncontrolled field, or?
That's a mainly uncontrolled field, but
well, the talk. I think I've told you. I mean, talking to the tower is the second thing to atrophy. I mean, it goes away. Yeah. So basically, what I tell people that are not really comfortable or familiar with it is the format is who you think you're talking to, which in this case is going to be Bolton ground. It's the exact same guy. There's only one guy up there, but they insist that you separate the frequencies because he transmits on both, but he'll listen on one or the other or something. So they'll correct you if you're on tower and you ask for ground clearance. They'll correct you on that.
Yeah.
So we got that all set. We're ready to go, I think. Yeah, our oil's up. Yeah, that came no time at all. So what I'm going to say is Bolton ground. That's who I think I'm talking to. I'm not always right, and you can confirm that. KTZR ground.
Okay.
KTZR tower.
All right.
That's something I don't check as often as I should.
Yeah.
that's how you tell if you're in the right spot. So it's going to be Bolton ground experimental 284 Delta Golf. Where am I? T-hangers. What do I want? I'm ready to taxi. He's going to probably clear us runway 22 Bravo to Alpha or runway 4, which is a much longer walk, but it'll still be Bravo to Alpha because there's only one way out. This taxiway in front of us is Bravo. The one that runs parallel to runway is Alpha. When we come back in, they'll have us come in on Charlie, which is the next cross taxiway down. So this one's pretty straightforward. It's just going to be taxi to blah, blah, blah. Bolton ground, experimental 284 Delta Golf at the T-hangers, ready to taxi departing VFR westbound.
Experimental 284 Delta Golf, Bolton ground, runway 22, taxi via Bravo and Alpha. The wind is calm, altitude is 299.1. Correction, 299.8.
All right, Bravo to Alpha, runway 22, Delta Golf. All right, so we were within 200s.
Yeah,
pretty close. They struggle with their words sometimes too, so I don't really feel bad when I screw up because they do it too. It's very collaborative here. It's a pretty laid-back place. Unless you really screw up, then they really have to kind of come down on you. That was the scolding that, well, they didn't get a scolding, they got corrected, and then the guy wanted to argue with them about it.
Oh, about the frequency that day?
That was the day after. The day before was a guy that, he was cleared 22 fly runway heading. He got to 500 feet and turned south. And the controller, this is where I first tuned in. The first words I were potential violation, airspace incursion. And the guy said, what I do? And he says, well, you took off and you turned to the south. And the guy says, well, according to the federal aviation regulations, once I'm at 500 AGL, I can do anything I want. And the tower was very polite about this. I was really impressed. He says, well, that's you're exactly right, sir, except for one thing. There's a clause that says, unless directed otherwise. And I directed you to fly runway heading. And you turn to the south. And then the guy wants to argue about it. I mean,
that's never a good thing.
And he's like, well, why? Why did you want me to do that? Well, first of all, it's none of your business. You just do it. You don't have time to debate these things. There's other people flying. I mean, I'm sitting over Lily Chapel wanting to report in.
Yeah.
And it went back and forth. Well, there was traffic on downwind. I looked back, well, I don't see it. And I said, well, it's not there anymore. It's moved on. Well, I didn't see it at the time. I looked to the left and I didn't see it before I made the turn. And I'm thinking, it's not your job to see it. It's his job to see it and tell you about it. So that guy just went on. And I finally interrupted, and I had to report Lily Chapel inbound because I was getting ready to come blasting into the Class D. So the guy finally let it go, but the controller, I was surprised. I mean, just very, very calm and patient, way more than I ever could have been with somebody like that. Oh, I should be letting you taxi. So get your feet on the rudder pedals, get your toes up on the brakes. And really, at this point, you're going to have to steer only with the brakes.
Brakes are up top,
up on the top, like on a Cessna. So a little bit on the right, on the top. There it goes. And you may have to follow up, because that's going to drag off some of your speed. You may have to follow up with throttle. Hit it a little harder. There you go. That's good. That's good. That's enough.
All right.
This one, it really ends up being kind of pressure and taps, light pressure and maybe harsh taps to get it started.
All right.
So give me a tap on the top left. There you go. Just like that. There you go. Just like that.
Yeah.
Now you can let off because you want to kind of maintain your momentum as much as you can. And you just, you know, as I say, the more brakes you use, you're going to have to feed in a little gas, take it back out. You'll pick up speed because we're going downhill. Now you can see this is where I'm Bravo, the yellow on the black. We're going to Alpha.
All right.
And 2-2 is to the left. They got no little sign there. When the grass grows up, you can't see that, so it's good to remember.
So we're going left.
Yeah, we're going left to 2-2.
I want to throw
Go ahead.
up too
Go
much.
ahead. Get her in there. Oh, get all you. We're in the green arc. Do anything you want. You'll get a feel for this. Initially, you're kind of draggy on it, so you're doing a lot of throttle, but you get to where you can kind of just finesse it a little bit.
Whoa, shit.
Yeah, you have to stop the turn. You have to start the turn and stop the turn. I'm about 15 seconds behind you on everything. That's going to be too much. If you find you're running with, if you're dragging both of them, pull back the throttle. This is why you do the brake pads every year.
Yeah.
It's constantly wanting to turn. Every little gust makes it want to turn, so you're almost always on the brakes, and you go through brake pads doing that.
Right.
They're about $38 or $40 to replace. I mean, that's not bad. But you do have to pull the wheel off, so you have to jack the airplane, yada yada.
So the rudder really doesn't have much.
It's not going to do anything.
Huh?
No, not yet.
All right.
And we'll discuss that as we do the takeoff, how you transition from steering with the brakes to steering with the rudder. That's going to be happening in just a couple minutes here. All right, start slowing it down. Just kind of turn towards the runway, but you don't need to go all the way up to the stop short. The reason I don't is if the brakes ever get away from me and I go a few feet ahead accidentally, I don't want to cross that line because they have to violate you if you do that. So we'll stop right about here. All right, now let's get the checklist if I can remember how. Tools,
pull
checklist.
This back to
yeah, you can pull it back to just above. You don't want to get to where it runs real rough. All right, so we've already done the pre-start. It's helpful to, well, we won't high screen. Usually it's helpful to high screen. We've already done engine start, pre-taxi. Now we're at before takeoff, so push that to the right. Before takeoff, brakes set. That's get your feet on the brakes and hold them down. Flight controls free and correct. So that's just, you know, really this is two things. I mean, it never fails this check. But when I'm checking is make I got clearance from you, because you'll get people sitting like this.
Right.
That doesn't work. So it's basically just as everything, or, you know, has anything gotten jammed up in there.
Yeah.
So you just kind of stir the paint here and stir the cauldron or whatever. Fuel quantity, minimum 4 gallons. We already discussed why you have a minimum of 4 gallons. Trim set for takeoff. That's right, that little green line. Yours may be someplace else. It may not. Mine's kind of low because I was probably one thread off when I built that little rod. So that's where you're trimming. And now things are going to be arranged differently on your airplane too. You set these the way you like them. You're just getting to move things around. So it's going to look a little different on yours. We can run this on that. So flaps set for takeoff. Now I always go flaps up. Now you can do 1 notch. Maybe if you're on a rough field or grass field, soft field takeoff, where the idea is get it off the ground just as fast as you can.
Okay.
This will probably knock a few miles off before you get up out of that sludge. But then you got to remember to put them back up again. Canopy latched, I checked that a zillion times. We might as well go ahead and do it because it's not all that hot today anyway. You want a nice solid thunk. You want to hear that nice solid thunk when you do that. So engine run up, we're down to that. Oil temperature wants 122 degrees before run up. We're at 167. Stab stick back. I don't really do this. There's no real reason to do this that I'm aware of, but you're supposed to hold this back. So do your run up at 4,000. It's very hard to get it on an exact number, and you don't need to get it on an exact number. Anywhere between 3,900, 4,100 will do. You just want to be kind of consistent as you do each one.
Okay.
And what we're going to be looking for, now, because I don't have the big screen, it's maximum drop of 175. Here, I can do this quick enough. Back, screen, get rid of that. There we go. So max drop 300 RPM, which is a huge drop. Typically, I'm going to find about 100, 120. So we're going up to 4,000. That's pretty close. But since you got a 300 max drop, well, actually, you're right on. Make a liar out of me. Thanks a lot. So that's 100. 100, yep. And you're allowed 120 difference between them, which is also a lot. And that's 100. So we're good on that.
Well within both.
So we had max drop. We took care of all that. Well, I'm maybe on this knob now, yeah. Engine instruments checked. There's not much really to check. You want oil pressure. That's a big one, right? So actually, let's go back to the other screen because it's hard for me to see things on this. PFD. There we go. Oil pressure is right. Where's my oil pressure? Right there. And temps are good. Everything's good. So throttle back to idle. And you want to go ahead and bring it all the way back because you set the idle yourself, and you can actually set it too low to where it'll just stall. All right, fuses checked. They will light up if they're burned out, and things will stop working if they're burned out. So there's two ways of telling. Now, I don't have anything in the fuel pump. I have a special check for that. If I was loading the data on this thing, if I have this running, I'll go ahead and pull the fuse out of the fuel pump because it constantly runs, and there's no reason for that. I'll put it over here in landing lights because I haven't got any. So this is one of my end of runway checks that you normally wouldn't do. You probably leave yours alone. But now I should have the fuel pump working. And we should have fuel pressure, minimum of 2.2. So there's 2.1, 2.0, and varies. Seat belts and harness fastened. You're good on that, right?
Yep.
Flight timer start. We won't bother with that. Well, maybe we ought to. So back tools because we got limited gas. I can go ahead and turn on the timer. I'm going to 0 it, and I want to count up. And that'll keep track of how long we've been flying. Actually, it's going to count down, but either way, it's counting.
Yeah.
Back. And see. Tower Unicom frequency check. So I'm on ground. Glad we checked. I'm on tower. Verify that there. And I think that's pretty much it. Yep. So now we go back. Now takeoff normal, which is nearly all I do. So control stick halfway aft, so it'll be back like this. Throttle smoothly open. Piece of cake. I can just talk you through this. So basically what I'm doing is I'm steering with the brakes. As we first start going, I'm steering with the brakes.
All right.
But I've got this stick back, and I start to feel it load up. And once I feel it starting to take a little bit of load and the nose starts coming up, then I know I have a lot of air across the tail, and I can start steering with the rudder.
Okay.
So like if there's a crosswind and you're steering with the brakes and you're kind of steering with the rudder, even when you come off the ground, it's going to give it a little swoopy thing. So it's kind of I just kind of work my way down. I'm kind of easing off the brake and kind of bringing in the rudder at the same time.
All right,
to just try to keep it smooth. Today's going to be no problem at all. 0 wind. Climb at 75 knots or less if you really want to get out of there. I think a obstacle takeoff you climb at 60.
Okay.
It's like a U2 taking off. Trim as required. We won't require anything until we're doing anything. And then this is typical crosswind instructions, which you can read in the manual, or I'll give you this checklist. Put this checklist file on your airplane too.
All right.
And it just basically tells you the best way to do a crosswind is to raise the downwind wing first, and then as it comes off the ground, it'll pretty much by itself, it'll just pivot into the wind, and you just climb out from there. So that's pretty much it for the checklist for now. Let's turn that back off. I can't have them both at the same time. So we're ready to go. We're on tower frequency. We are latched. We always check that latch. I'm paranoid as hell about that latch. Don't think there's much else to do. We got a course set in. We don't care about the course, but we'll fly it for a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a holler, tell him Experimental 284 Delta Golf ready for takeoff, runway 22, departing VFR. I'm going to actually change it to southwest. I don't want to go west. We'll change it to southwest. And he may or may not remember that I said west. Doesn't matter. I changed my mind. I'm allowed to do that. So, and then he'll clear us almost right away, and then we'll be out of here. Now, you see this low voltage?
Yep. 13.
That'll come up with the engine.
Oh, yeah.
So
okay.
You'd be sitting there thinking, oh, I've got a yellow, I'm not going to go. Well, that needs a little bit of RPM. I mean, a lot of airplanes are like that. Need a little bit of RPM to get that pumped up. So I believe we're ready to go. Bolton Tower, Experimental 284 Delta Golf, ready for takeoff, runway 22, departing VFR southwest.
284 Delta Golf, runway 22, clear for takeoff, westbound departure.
All right, that's good enough. Clear for takeoff, 224 Delta Golf. He missed the southwest because he remembered.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Once we're out of his space, he doesn't care what we do. We'll just go on straight on runway heading and make a turn to the west. Why not? All right, so I use all the runway. Don't really need 80% of it. So I'm on the brakes right now to make it turn. And you want to kind of let it roll. You want to get this wheel straight.
Okay.
All right, so now I've got that stick back. And I'm just going to kind of smoothly, now I'm on the brakes already, got that left turning tendency that I'm fighting against. I'm starting to feel stick pressure, so nose is up. Now I'm purely on the rudders.
All right.
You felt the change?
Yep.
And now like this, you just hold this nose like this, and it'll fly off by itself. Get out of the way, bird. It just flies off by itself.
Yeah. Cool.
And now I'm easing back on the stick because from here on out, I'm going to be flying with the trim more or less as we climb out. But I mean, we're doing 75 knots, and we're at 500, 600 foot per minute already, now 700. And we could climb if we really had to. This is 70 knots. That's 10 above the obstacle. And so we're at 1,350 foot per minute.
That's pretty
at 60-some knots with, both of us in here. Look at that cloud out there.
Yeah, it's ugly.
That's why I really don't want to go that way.
I don't blame you.
That'll come and park right atop the airport at some point.
Yeah.
So we're going to make a little pretend turn to the west. But we'll go past my house. That means we're at the end of the runway.
Right over here, right?
Yeah, there's the roundabout.
Oh, yeah, I see your
And you'll
house.
see the fence. The fence is just a big there. Look for that fence, and there's my house.
Yeah.
So that we'll stay south of that cloud, or go over the top of it. All right, I'm going to point us to the west. I want you to get ready to fly.
All right.
So you might as well start flying with your left hand, because that's what you're going to want to do when you're on this side, because everything's over here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to trim it down a wee bit, and I'm going to pull a little bit of power off, and let's just climb out like this, your airplane.
All right.
And you can do a few gentle little turns to get a feel of the stick. Real light grip, very, very light grip, like in holding an egg.
Yeah, it's light, all right. Sensitive. Where's your vertical? Let's see.
Vertical speed's right here, 650.
All right.
We're fine. Really, if you stay anything over 80 knots, or actually anything over 65 knots, we're going to climb. And we'll go up to about 3,000 or so and let you do some turns and such forth. Get a feel for it.
Yeah, that's some nasty clouds over there, or stuff coming.
Yeah, later on. Those will raise up. Right now they're just irritations. They're what I call visa clouds. They're everywhere I want to be.
So you said stay at about 80 knots?
Anything, really. 75 is a good cruise climb.
All right.
You could climb more steeply if you wanted to, but we don't really need to right now. You could climb more shallowly. When we're heading off to Houston, I'm probably going to climb at 200-300 foot per minute, because we don't care.
Right.
It's dead flat out here, and we're more interested in getting there in less than 12 hours. So we'll take the airspeed over the. That just depends on where you are.
Right.
It's got a huge range, and really, even at close to cruising speed, it's still going to climb 200 or 300 foot per minute. It loves to climb because it's got too much engine.
Yeah.
Well, not too much. It has more engine than it needs, given the speed limit that was put on LSAs. So I think it's probably a fair way to say that. Now, you got a choice between the 6-pack. This is the EFIS style. You can also go to screen. No, that's not right. PFD, mode, 6-pack. And then a lot of times what I'll do, you don't really need this right now, because you can just follow this for your course. So we can turn that off. We can go back, screen, and we'll just turn off the map. And now you have a nice big, when you're sitting over there, it helps. When you're sitting over here, it doesn't matter as much.
Right.
I've never known why I get that red background. We're nowhere near any kind of airspeed limitation, so I don't know why I get that red background now and then. That's a question for Dynon. If you wanted to navigate, you would just turn to left. Have you ever done an HSI?
Yeah, but it's been a while. Right now we're
We'll go
right
ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and turn. Let's get back on course.
We're right of course, right?
Yes. And you're coming up on 35, so we're going to level off a little bit. And we do that. You can do that with the stick and the power.
Yeah, bear with me. It's been a while since I've flown, so
Fine.
I don't want to screw up and up here, but
Yeah, we'll do the aerobatics later. All right, there's your 3500. So you'll probably just want to pull back a little bit. We're not in any hurry right now. We're just not going to burn a buttload of gas. We'll just keep around down to 4,800 or so.
okay.
And you're going to have to get, here's how,
coming left. Huh?
yeah, so here's your trim. You're probably going to need some down trim right now, because you're climbing away from your 35.
Oh yeah.
So that's just a quick, go ahead and use it just to try it. You'll feel it. It just takes a quick burst, and this is up. It
Okay.
became a lot quicker when I put in the auto trim panel. The autopilot wants to move the trim very quickly, so I had to kind of adapt to just stab at it.
Yeah. Yes.
And we're way off course, so you would have to go further, yeah. So probably follow that little, that's probably good right there. And that'll start creeping back in. When that gets to the middle, you're on course.
Okay. Yeah, we're supposed to be on what heading? We're supposed to be on.
Just whatever this says.
All right.
It's due almost south. It's about 175 degrees.
I'm climbing still. You're right.
It wants to do it. That's all it wants to do. It just wants to climb. So just take the trim out or take some throttle out. You own the throttle.
All right.
Take the throttle out.
Throttle back to about what?
Oh, just into 4,000. It's fine right now.
All right. Well, now I'm. So trim, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, let's go. Well, we will be on course. We don't want to bust into the Class D at Rickenbacker, but you're going to intercept that course right there anyway, so you really don't need that. There, it's starting to come in now, so you can kind of, it's going to take a little while because we're still, like, that's still 5 miles per dot.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hit that in about 3 minutes, so you can start easing into it. You basically just want to end up as a solid line straight ahead of us.
Yeah.
I think that one of these one does track and one does, well, this is probably GPS track. One does wind correction for you. One of them. I think this one has got wind correction, but this one doesn't. I can never remember which it is. We won't be able to tell today. Well, actually, we will. We'll have a crosswind of about 19 knots. See that down here in the corner? Yeah. So you can start turning back to the south now, and we'll intercept that real nicely. There, now you're getting it.
A little bit more, huh?
Yep, just about there. This is still on a 5 mile per dot, so that's still a mile or so, but that doesn't take any time at all.
Something is sensitive for sure.
Oh yes.
Wait, wrong way. There we go.
This is they've changed this. This is an awkward location. More than once, I've been turning from like right down into right base at Bolton. So I want to give it a little bit of up trim, and I reach out and hit this. No. That turns off the radio.
Yeah, that's
and the tower's like, where'd you go? So they have a little gap between there, but I mean, 2 or 3 times now I've hit the wrong one. Yeah. And now the radio comes right back on, and this does not turn off the sky view, so I don't have that lengthy boot up or anything like that. So I turn it right back on, but they've changed all this around. They're down here now or up here. The newer ones are, well, they're very, very nice. So there you are on course. And now I think we can go back to the map page now because you can kind of just see what you need to see. But yeah.
I need to go a little bit trimmed down again,
yep.
No?
Yeah, it takes, well, see the RPM's starting to come back up too as we're unloading the airplane. So just pull a little more off of that. This is also a vernier. You can do it that way. It's a little more precise.
All right.
Like if I was aiming, well, it doesn't do you any good aim for an exact number because up and down drafts are going to influence it, but it gets you in the neighborhood. So let's say we wanted 46. I can get pretty close to that just fine-tuning it.
Yeah.
Now we're getting on the other side of the course. You can see that here. And it's going to happen because we have a healthy crosswind, 22 knots coming from your side. It's going to want to blow us away from that. So you're going to end up crabbing into it. I think this one must be the one that has the wind correction because now we're heading straight on it, but obviously the ground track says we're not. That's because of that wind. So that's the one you want to follow. And you see that extended line? That's 10 miles, that hash mark. If you turn the plane and put that right on the course line,
yep.
That's all you need to do is just keep those parallel.
Okay.
Let's see how much wind correction we've got?
Yeah.
That's a 23 knot crosswind. You're going to have that. You can actually zoom in. This zooms in. This zooms out if you're looking for that weather. And I generally leave it on about 20 or 12, somewhere around there. Until I start getting close, and I'll bring it down to 8 or 5. So now we can pick up a little more RPM than that. It's feeling a little mushy, but we're still doing 92 knots in the red. I really don't know what that's all about. Now this is an MOA. We'll be underneath it. If you want to know the altitudes of that MOA, take the knob, push it up here, and just hover over that MOA.
All right.
And we need to be, well, if we care about flying through it, which I don't, we just need to be under 5,000 MSL. And now to get back to the airplane, it's just a push. It's like a little push button to get you back to the airplane.
Just push it straight in?
Yep. It's tricky to do. There we go. It wants to move around. So airspace-wise, we're fine. Now, as long as we're just droning along, we could try some turns. I mean, let me show you what I want to do.
All right. You got the plane.
You can turn like you've been turning. Actually, you've been holding against the trim.
Yeah, I have.
So it'll smoothly roll. This is a legitimate turn. This is about 20 degrees, 25 degrees, and it gets you turned. And again, it takes very little effort to do it. Mike may have you do steep banks. It'll do steep banks very, very well. This is about 45 degrees. It'll hold this all day. You can climb. You'll intuitively put back pressure on the stick, but what you'll end up happening, I guarantee you'll start climbing because it takes so little. The airplane just wants to climb. So you can move it. You can move it as you need to.
Wow, yeah.
I'm going to get you back on course. And there you go, your airplane. So you can move it assertively if you want to, or you can fly it like a Cadillac if you want to. The airplane doesn't care.
All right.
I like that. I like that level of nimble. It's not that terrific for like an instrument platform. This really, I don't think this would make a very good instrument airplane.
Yeah, it's pretty sensitive.
The autopilot helps. We'll talk about the autopilot later. For now, just get comfortable flying again.
Yeah.
Now we can look ahead and see what's going down on Portsmouth since we're headed that way. We can go to map, and I think we should already have PMH loaded, right? So we go to info and see if they've got any weather reported yet. They don't, but we can go ahead and put in their AWOS. So we'll tune that in, push that to active, then we'll tune in the Unicom so we're ready for it. Now, this is a 122.8 can be a lot of different airports. It's only telling me KPMH because that's our destination. Otherwise, it would pick the closest airport that's 122.8, which might be Circleville or something like that, and it would show that. The tower, that can also happen with the tower frequencies. Those are also shared, but not nearly as closely as Unicoms. And then we want to exit and go back up to the top. Now, we're not going to hear anything from them yet. We can try pulling the squelch.
Radio Portsmouth Regional Airport.
Kind of hear it?
Yeah, barely.
128 Zulu, weather, wind 160, visibility 1, fog.
Still foggy down there. And that's what you want to know about Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And again, it may only be on half the runway. It may end up being no factor at all by the time we get there. It doesn't really matter because we don't care if we get there. Well, we do because it's a good restaurant. And but we shouldn't go. We can't go all the way down there because we haven't got the gas for it. So we'll do that. We'll gas up and go again today. But for now, let's just stay local area. So let's say we want to.
Well, say if I pull it back a little bit, I need to just tap it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's just a stab.
All right. Just real quick.
Yeah, just a real quick tab like that. That's because of the autopilot. So let's divert because we don't want to go all the way down there with only 7 gallons of gas because I don't want to buy 100 low lead and I don't want to buy it at an airport anyway. So let's say we can either do. There's a number of things we could do. Let's say let's see. Somewhere in here there is a tools. That's not it. I should be able to find this more quickly. There it is, nearest. So we can hit nearest, and we have a lot of choices. Circleville is only 8 miles away, so let's drag on down to that and just hit direct to. Now you have a new course to Circleville. It's actually almost right in front of us. And we can zoom in so you can see it. And there, that should take us there. Now that's 7 miles away. Now we want to get their frequency in there, so that's info. And we're going to go over to, so it is actually, make sure we're actually talking about Circleville. They have a Unicom at 122.7, so we'll go ahead and tune that in. Might as well bring it right on over because that's all they have. And now we have KCYO 122.7. We don't care about the rest of it, so we're exit back. Well, we might want to know about the runways. I happen to know what they are, but let's look anyway. So that's map, info, and it should be, there it is, RWI. So they have runway 1 and 19er. So basically north and south. Weather, I think it was like 4 knots or something. Well, actually, they don't have an AWOS, but it's not much weather. So if we wanted to land there, what we could do, one thing we can do is this. Let's zoom in on it. So we're coming along here, more or less pointed right at it. There's your runway. So that's a beautiful setup for a left downwind back to runway 1.
Yep.
So what we would do is say, back up. We're about 5.5 miles. It'll be 5.5 miles by the time I get around to talking. So we can say Circleville traffic, experimental 284 Delta Golf, 5 miles north, inbound left traffic, runway 1, Circleville. And now we can just go ahead and do that. So let's zoom this back out a little bit. Let's go ahead and aim at the airport. We should be able to see it. It should be right off our nose. There it is. You see, kind of see the river running along just to our side of the river. With that line of trees that looks like it could be railroad tracks. So we're way high. Pattern altitude, let's go look at that map. Info, pattern altitude is 1700. I dial that into altitude as a reminder. So 1700 is what we want. So we need to get down there. So we're just going to pull the throttle back. You don't have a shock cooling issue like you did with Lycomings because you got the water cooled heads. So we're just going to pull it on back. And the airport's right there, so aim us at the runway.
All right.
And we're going to have a crosswind, so actually aim at the river. It's going to blow us towards it's a pretty healthy crosswind. It's going to blow us towards it. And we're looking for 1,700. We're doing 1,000 foot per minute. We're 2 minutes away, so that's going to take us, that'll do it. We'll be at pattern altitude. This little blue arc, or this turquoise arc, is telling you where you will be over the ground when you reach 1,700 feet. So if you can get that right, which it's doing already, that's telling us we will make pattern altitude by the time we get there.
Okay.
And you can manage that with airspeed or throttle or however you want to manage it. We're still doing 90 knots, so we'll be going pretty quick. So we would probably manage it with throttle. Let it come on down. I mean, we're going to level off at 17. We don't have to exactly be at the airport at 17,
okay.
But you don't want to see that clear the hell down here either.
Yeah, so what kind of airspeed you want to, what
well, we're fine.
All right.
When we get to downwind, we'll want to be in the white arc before we put down the flaps. That's the only thing to worry about. We're set up beautifully for a left downwind. Looking good. Now about here, she's going to say approaching altitude.
Approaching altitude.
Set to 500. I think it's configurable. So that lets you know you need to kind of get ready to level out. Now when you level out, we're going to let the airspeed drop down to about 70, and then we'll pick it up with throttle.
Okay.
Let's get a little closer. And I'll make a call that we're entering downwind when we get a little bit closer, because we're still a mile out. That's good. So you got 100 to go. All right, we'll level off. Go ahead and trim it if you need to. Now see, we're getting dropping airspeed. Now we're in flap range, so that's perfect. We can just hold it like that. You're descending a little early. Let's keep it 17, there you go. And here comes 70, 78. We'll get the flaps more towards, midfield.
Liberty traffic along the TAMP 261, crossing midfield to the north.
Altitude.
Circle roll, Pickaway traffic, experimental 284 on south, left downwind runway 1, Pickaway County. We're still low, we're way below pattern altitude. Let's get that up. There we go, I'll feature the throttle in there. 70 is good.
Delaware traffic, Cessna 150.
Now throttle is altitude for me right now.
Delaware.
Now
Santa Grimes traffic, Cherokee 20907 November, 5 to the west and down for 20, or
so we're way low, huh? 15?
Yeah, we're 200 low. All right, so now when I put the flaps down, there's going to be a pronounced nose down, and it's also going to take a wee bit more throttle, but actually we want the airplane to start coming down, so we'll see what happens. So the throttle's a pain, or the flaps are a pain in the butt. You got to squeeze this thing, 1 click, 2 click, and make sure it latches. Now you're going to need some trim. I find takeoff trim actually works pretty well as approach trim as well. So we're going to throttle that back a little bit, because we got to start coming down. And we want 70, so we're going to trim a little bit, try a little 5 off of there. We're still way high. I'll just walk you through this one.
Yeah, because I'm overwhelmed right now with what to pay attention to.
The other thing is, I'm not going to let you hit the ground running until you can taxi.
Yeah.
So that's far enough back. We should be able to lose it. If not, we'll slip it. This is where you want to start. I'll get through this turn at 70, and then that's why I want to start slowing down to about 65. I'll keep the extra 5 knots in the turn just because. So there's my 65, just about-ish. Circle Pickaway County, 4 Delta Golf is left base, runway 1. Now there's my 65. You go ahead and make the turn. We have a crosswind from the left, so I'm going to start it a little, maybe start it too late already.
traffic, Mike 771 Bravo, downwind runway 27.
All right, so now we can slow down to 60 or so. Well, it's pretty good now. It's become a tailwind at this point. This is probably the wrong runway. Do a low pass.
Santa Grimes traffic, 907 November, approaching from the west. Midfield crosswind for 20, Urbana Grimes.
We'll go around, come back the other way. We really could have flown over and take a look to windsock, but it's actually, see, it's dropping way off. As you get down here, the wind becomes almost nothing.
Yeah.
Which is why there wasn't much reported.
Yeah.
So here I'm at 60. This is uphill too, so it'll slow us down. So you just kind of bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Now you're looking all the way to the end of the runway, See how it's starting to flatten out?
Yeah.
So you just kind of hold this attitude, just hold the nose up a little bit. All you gotta do is just hold the nose up, and there you go. Then flaps up. Be ready for the sudden turn to the right when you push in the throttle. Look at windsock is dead limp. We wouldn't even be able to see it. And we're already at 56, so off we go.
Wow.
I'm trimming down again, because it wants to climb, climb, climb. That vibration is the nose wheel shimming.
All right.
It's after shimming its little butt off. Settles down after a while. There it went. All right, got it?
Yep.
All right, take us around again. So go at least about 500 AGL. So that's going to be 2300.
Urbana Grimes traffic, 907 November, turning
Need some rudder, sorry, that's me.
for 20, Urbana Grimes.
There we go. Just needs a little rudder.
Hold on a minute. What am I doing
There
here?
you are. Yeah, they're tiny and you got big feet. All right, we can start making our crosswind.
Approaching.
So we're down to 6 gallons. We'll do one more of those and go back. That's an hour, you know, and there's a little reserve built in, but we'll fill it up. All right, go ahead and make it, there you go. You want to be like 90 degrees. Now what we want to do, uncontrolled field, we want to drop that wing and make sure there's not somebody coming in a downwind or somebody, and you could, well, it should be over here. That would be a right downwind that people do what people do. We can go ahead and turn downwind now. And we're looking for 17. We're just about there.
So why am I not staying coordinated here? What am I doing wrong?
It's going to come back to you, trust me. It's not like anything you've ever flown either.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throttle back a wee bit. We're 100 to pattern altitude. And we don't need to get above flap speed, so we're just going to throttle back now, so we don't have to slow it down again. And you'll probably want to trim up a little bit. There we go. That feels about right. It's hard for you to see. It's hard for you to do from the right.
Yeah.
It'll be better when you're sitting on this side.
So. Yeah.
That's getting fast. And we can use numbers. About 4,000 on downwind will get you to flap speed. We're descending. So about 4,000 will get you slowed down. And then really, beam the numbers, you can go down around 3,000 and almost glide it in. So the numbers, we're just passing them right now. So let's see how that works. I mean, for a while, it'll probably be easier to have you some guidelines on just the RPM.
Yeah, that's what the numbers would help me.
So we'll work at 3,000. We're beaming the numbers, so we're going to get the flaps. You want to try that?
Yeah. Push in, up.
Yep.
Push
one
in.
more.
Oh,
There you go.
gotcha.
And it should latch. Now you're going to have to follow it up. It gives you that nose down. You follow it up with trim. And we're a little less than 3,000, and I'm still not letting it really come down. There we go. You know, from here we could probably go to idle. So that looks about right. It just doesn't really want to come down.
Leaving altitude.
So I'm going to trim that off a little bit. We're still high. So it's not going to come, well, it might. We're a little heavier than I'm used to. It might come down from here. We can slip it if we need to. It slips very well. We'll do that a little bit just for funsies. So we're way, way high. And we want to add a little drag to the airplane. So right about now, I'm going to put in a bootload of right rudder, and I'm correcting with the stick to the left. You really want to watch your airspeed when you're doing this.
Yeah.
Because you're at a risk of an accelerated stall. So you keep the speed a little higher. And we're slipping right into the wind. Well, what little wind? There is no wind. Who am I kidding? And right about here, it'll just come right on out of it. And it just settles right on in. So again, we're about 65. So we're a little fast right now. 63, it's slowing down. So I look all the way down the runway. Just kind of ignore your peripheral vision and just kind of let it flatten out, flatten out. There we go. Had a little side crab on that. Yeah. So right away you got to get flaps back up.
Yeah.
And big boot. There we go. It's already trimmed. That's a lot of trim. Could have had a little less than that. It's already trimmed for the climb. There's that nose wheel wobbling.
Right.
Gonna fall off of there one day. That's actually getting worse. That Nose wheel vibrating.
Yeah, just because it's spinning, right?
I think the whole fork is moving.
Okay.
All right, your airplane.
All right, man, like I said, I'm a bit overwhelmed right now.
That's okay. I'm right here with you.
What to do.
I'm not going to let you break my airplane. Well,
Yeah.
I'll let you break your airplane, but not with me in it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, since we're down low, I'll take care of this map. Direct to, I should just be able to go to recent. ATZR, direct, back. Just follow that line. We'll stay on frequency for a little bit because somebody could be coming in. But I can go ahead and set up for 28.1, so that's map, info. I could just dial it in, but comm, we're going to want tower. So we'll tune that in, but we'll leave it for now. So we're away from here. That's us. This happens when you're not super close to an ADSB transmitter. It reflects on us. There it goes away, see? You get used to that. So we're going to go back on course. And we only need to go about 2,500 or so.
Yeah, go ahead, 781, we're down 1, runway 10.
2,500?
Yeah, that's good. We'll see where that cloud is. I hope you hadn't gotten over to the airport yet. I might have to work around that.
Leaving altitude.
Worst case is we'll just divert to ugly young farmers and put some oil in your plane.
Yeah, 781 is marked, go ahead. Yeah, you broke up, say again?
Well, I broke up last night. I'm still a little sensitive about it.
Hey, Bill, how you doing? Yeah, up there.
All right, that's enough of that. I always try to have my next frequency ready to go. I'm not 100% good at it, but I try. That's instrument flying. You want to kind of be ahead of everything you can get in front of. You want to get in front of it. All right, there's 25. Yeah, see, we're starting to see it pop up. Now green, you won't even see anything coming out of a green cloud. A yellow cloud, you get like a little bit of mist. It's kind of brown before you see any real rain. But these are going to grow up. Yeah, they've got water in them, so that's kind of why I want to stay close to home. Now, when we'll call the tower coming from here, we'll go over the landfill. Well, actually, I can just call them based on mileage, but you can also call them over the landfill, which you won't be able to miss because it's the only elevation in all of Central Ohio. It's Trash Mountain is what we call it.
What's that?
Trash Mountain. It's a big landfill, big landfill. And it's a good reporting point because they can see it from the tower. They know where it is. From the west, we would call Lily Chapel. That's just a grain elevator. From the northwest, I'll call Darby Dan, which is a tiny little airport.
Good morning, Bolton Tower, Survival 13.
Survival 13, Bolton Tower.
That's a truck.
Good morning, sir. Survival 13, we're about 7 miles north-northeast. Going to be inbound there to the ramp for fuel.
All right, they're 7 miles. We're 12. We're still 19 miles. That's really, they'll be done by the time we
Survival
get there.
13, report 1 mile out. Expected direct approach to the ramp. Wind is 190.003, altimeter 3,000.
Sounds like a helicopter. If he's going direct to the ramp, that's a helicopter.
3000 and our report 1 mile, Survival 13.
Usually you can tell because they sound like this, but
Yeah.
we get a lot of helicopters in there now because of the repair shop.
Oh, they have one there, a helicopter repair place?
Yep. And I like to listen ahead so I know what we're running into. That cloud's right in our way.
Yeah.
You can see the airport. Well, I can see the airport. I can't see the airport, but I can see there's a radar dish. From here, it looks like a tiny little golf tee.
Yeah, I see it.
That's on the east side of the runway. So if you can see that, you can see Bolton. Looks like we're headed right at that cloud. We'll probably go over it and then duck down on the other side. Won't really know till we get there. It looks too low to really want to go under it. We'll just work at it.
Yeah, it's turned about right now. Finally, I can't.
It's nice calm air too. It should pretty much stay that way.
Yeah.
That's you don't have these buttons, so you won't have the auto trim. And the only way to get the auto trim is to buy these buttons, which I think is I've talked to Dynon about it a couple times. Why don't you just sell an auto trim module?
Right.
Without running the trim, it's really not an autopilot.
Yeah.
You're constantly pushing up and down. I mean, just break out that little box and sell those. They'd sell 1,000 of them. But you have to get this for that.
I guess they want to. Why is that, you think? Why do they want to?
I'm not sure why, because they'll sell to us this button. That's what you have, is just a level button.
Right.
I'm not sure why they insist on that. Because not everybody's going to dig a hole in their panel to put these in. I love having these. I wanted it for the buttons. The auto trim was great, but I wanted it for the buttons because I use the autopilot a lot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're down here in nested menus. You got to go autopilot. You got to go roll. You got to figure out what. Here, I'll finally turn on nav, and then autopilot on, which I don't think I did, but. So it's just easier to have the buttons.
Golden Tower, Survivor 13, 1 mile.
Level 13, proceed direct to the ramp, use caution landing at your own risk to a non-movement area.
This thing does have great visibility.
Roger.
He said, usually he told him use caution. Usually he says at your own risk.
At a non-movement area.
Because they're landing on a non-movement area, which means it's not tower controlled. Anything could be happening. So he'll tell you, yeah, clear to land at your own risk. But this time he told him, something, be careful, I guess. Different terminology, which I noticed because they tend to be very strict about what words they use.
Yeah.
You know, this is how you say this. So that one was a little bit different than what I'm used to. Yeah, we should be able to get over those clouds. Probably easier over than under. Just that one little strip there.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing, nature. I figure we'll park it and we got to go get gas, which means we're going to be in the car. So I'm going to head home or go home and get my phone as long as we're out.
Okay.
Because she hates being out. I mean, I don't blame her. She doesn't know where I am.
Yeah.
That's a nice little grass runway down there. I forget the guy, Jim Miller. He sells that fabric covering.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See all the silos?
Yeah.
He calls this Jim Miller. He calls the airport Miller Time. And he's got a beautiful hangar, just wonderful. He's got half of it for airplane, the other half is basically like a mother-in-law kind of suite. Nice grass runway. When I was doing the tail dragger training, we were looking for grass runways, so we landed there. Real friendly.
Yeah, what does he make? He makes covers.
He doesn't make it. He sells the fabric for like fabric wing airplanes. It's all synthetic now. I forget what it's called now.
Synconite or
one of those. Yeah. I'm not sure. I always thought it'd be nice to have a grass runway until I realized you got to mow them.
Yeah,
I got enough mowing already. Way more than enough mowing already.
There's a guy around the street from my dad that's got a grass runway. They fly little ultralights.
You really can't use them when they're wet. Well, we might have to go under this. Looks like we're going to head right into it if we don't. We can go as low as, pattern altitude is, let's look at that just to know, right? So map, we're going to make sure we're going to go info, make sure we're looking at TZR. Traffic 1700, which we've already got. 1704, which is literally impossible for us to measure. So we'll just call that 1700, and we're already set for that. So I still can't tell if we're going to be over it. I think we're going to be over it. We'll be over it for it's not even a quarter mile wide. We'll just go over it, I guess. We could go over it, we could go under it. We just don't want to go through it. We need 500 feet under, which I'm not sure we could do.
Right,
we need 1,000 above, which I know we're not going to do. So we're rocking a high place. So I'm not going to go 1,000 feet up to cross a quarter mile in the cloud.
Yeah.
FAA's listening on YouTube. To go 500 under, that would put us at 2,000 just to have 500 under. Well, we can do that actually because we're only 10 miles out. But that's going to put us at basically pattern altitude 10 miles out, which I'm not keen on that either. I wish there was a gap, but just aim for that. See that little swale we're headed at? We'll go over the lowest part we can find. I mean, it's barely even a cloud. We could go through it and it'll be like that. There's a bigger one behind it, so we're going to end up going under it anyway, but we're going to be miles closer to the airport when we do. Because it's flat enough out here, it probably wouldn't matter too much either way. But, the whole thing about not being in the clouds is there might be an instrument airplane in there.
Coming out of it.
He's not going to be in there for very long. Yeah, that's almost nothing. It's an interesting line.
It is, yeah.
That's some kind of front starting to come in, I would guess. Now this would work because the one behind it, there's a gap. We could go right through that gap.
Right over here?
Yeah, see the second line?
Yep.
There's a gap just off to your right. We'll just go right over that or through
Steer
it.
towards that?
So all we got to do is get over this one. Actually, there's a gap in this one too. Off to the side. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be over it. And we may be, I don't think we're 1,000 over it, but we're pretty well over it. And of course, we need 2,000 feet horizontal, which is impossible to measure.
Yeah.
I don't know what 2,000 feet looks like on the ground. I'm sure as hell can't tell if there's no reference.
Yeah.
It's a weird, I guess they had to put in some kind of standard. You have to have something, but I'm not sure how you other than being really overly cautious about it, I'm not sure how you know.
Right, yeah, what 2,000 feet is.
I really just stay the hell out of them is my best bet. And I never get right up under them, and I don't want to be right on top of them. And I mean, I make an effort, but I never know if I'm 100% right. The only way to know is to go down to it. Well, you're not supposed to be there.
Right.
Go down to it and then climb 1,000. Well, then I've already busted, so. That gap will work. Let's see, we're still 7.5 out. And as we saw with the slip, we can bring this airplane down if we need to. So we'll stay on top of that one also. And we'll give him a holler here at 6 miles or so. This is telling me that we're 2 minutes from Class D airspace. That's good to know. 1 minute now. So we'll have to give him a call. So we're about, I'm going to tell him 6.5. Fulton Tower, experimental 284, Delta Golf, 6 miles south, inbound landing.
Over 4 Delta Golf, Fulton Tower. Did you say you're inbound from the south?
Correct, from the south.
Number 4 Delta Golf, enter our left down runway 22 and report midfield. Wind is calm, altimeter is 3,000.
Enter midfield, left down 22, report midfield, 4 Delta Golf. Alright, so let's head for midfield. We'll just go right on in there. You feel the bump coming off of those?
Yeah.
They're going to raise up. They're still growing. Alright, same right at the golf tee and we'll be fine.
Yep.
We're at 2,500 and still got 6 miles to go. We don't really even need to start down yet. That's the landfill, if you're ever looking for the landfill. And he would have recognized that. It's over the landfill. He knows exactly where that is.
Yeah.
You can see Lily Chapel from here. It's a grain elevator way out there to the west.
Oh, yeah.
So that's home field advantage. If you were coming in without that, you'd do what I just did, 6 miles south. You can do either one. Both are valid. And the altimeter changed. We went to 3,000, so add a notch to that. I got ground in, so we're ready on that. Got no wind at all now. You know how we had that 20 knot cross?
Right.
It's all gone now.
What was that all about?
Probably the other side of that line of clouds. I don't know. Weather is still a gigantic mystery to me. All right, so we want 1,700, it's 800. We can start heading down. Let's go back to the middle, point to the middle of the runway. And we'll just kind of ease it down to 1,700, as we get closer. This is where we're going to be, so kind of keep that. As long as that comes to the other side of the runway, we're golden. Oh, we're still way fast, too. Feel that little resonance right there, right between 3,300 and 35. I get a little vibration. I don't know if yours will be the same. I've always had it. Just kind of get used to it. But it doesn't want to slow down at all.
Approaching altitude.
Okay, 500 to go. Same more for midfield. There we go. He needs to know where to look for us because we're really small.
Yeah. 1,700 you said, right?
Yep. And then we'll let the you level at 1,700, we'll let the airspeed bleed off till 70 and then throttle back in. But it won't take, we know it's going to take about 3,500 or so, maybe 3,000. It doesn't take much. There's 1,700. And let's start to see we're bleeding off our speed. There we're at flap speed, so now we can start feeding in. almost there. Below again. Let's get the, yeah. Trim if you need to. All right, let's go ahead and turn her downwind.
Hold tower, forward up the Gulf, midfield left downwind 22.
We're 4 Delta Golf, runway 22, clear lane.
Clear lane, runway 22, forward Delta Golf.
Alrighty. So we got 75. We can slow that up a bit. Probably take a notch of trim to do that. Another notch. There we go. All right, go ahead and get the flaps down. I'll get them because it's easier from this side. There we go. All right, keep flying. Keep flying. There you go. Now we got a lot of runway, and we're going to land halfway down, so we're not in a big giant hurry to get down like we were before. But we're also pretty far out. We're doing well. Trim a little bit more. Taking more than I'm used to. I got a little more weight than I'm used to. All right, let's go ahead and turn base. Now we're watching that airspeed like a hawk. Give it some gas if it feels slow, which it's kind of feeling slow. There you go. That's good. All right, now we're on our base. I still look, even though we got the tower, because people do weird things.
Right, you want to keep, so your base at about 60 knots?
Yeah, of course, yeah, we'll slow her down. Do 65. Actually, on base, you can do anything you want. You need to slow it down on final. Let's go ahead and turn now. Looking good. Good, coming on around. There you go. Now here's where we want to slow it down a wee bit, and that's going to obviously going to take a little trim. Flying.
That?
Yep, just keep flying. Little left, little to the left. That's good. We'll ease back in there. There we go. All right, hold it straight. That's our 60 knots right there. So we're just flying altitude with the throttle. It's going to get a big sinkhole here as we get over the grass. I'm going to move us over to the left a little bit. All right, now here, you can pull it all the way back, really. This flare. Hold it off, hold it off, hold it off, off. Like that.
Greaser, yeah.
There
perfect.
you go. You want to be careful, gentle with getting that nose wheel down. I probably could have held that nose wheel off a little bit. You don't want to plop it down. Yeah. It's not the strongest part of the airplane. Now he's going to turn me exit out right Alpha 3, monitor ground 0.8, taxi to park, blah blah blah. Yeah, Alpha to Charlie. Right Alpha 3, Alpha to Charlie, monitor ground 0.8. Something along those lines. He wakes up as soon as he wakes up. Or I guess I have to do it myself today. Usually you're very proactive about this.
Phone ground, forward Delta Golf, Alpha 3, taxi to park.
Very distracted.
What do you say?
He hadn't said anything.
4 Delta Golf, taxi parking Alpha and Charlie.
Alpha Charlie to park, 4 Delta Golf.
That's his backup radio.
Bravo 13 from the ramp at your own risk. Use caution departure for non-movement area. Wind is calm. Proceed on course. Don't overfly the aircraft taxiing in on Alpha.
Yes, thank you. He may have lost his radio. That sounds like his backup. That's why we had that delay.
Okay, yeah.
They have a lot. They must have really ancient radios because that happens a lot. So we come out on Bravo, we go back in on Charlie. They used to always have us all up and down Bravo, but then you kept running those. There's the helicopter taking off. So he was just here for gas, apparently. And at his own risk, he's departing. There we go. And he's not allowed to overfly us, which doesn't look like it was much of a problem anyway. He's going the other way. Oh, no, there he is. He's going to circle around. Well, that looks like fun. And there they go.
Fun and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah. Inexpensive, very, very expensive. Oh, you want taxi? Or should we be having you do that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just trying to get the feel of it.
Yeah, to do that. It's big. That's a big, important thing.
So we're going to follow this one?
Yeah, we can follow either one, but let's go ahead with this one. You go on the throttle also. There you go. can't get that open today. Hell, I can't get the canopy open. There it goes. Air. Well, air in here. So not this one. We're going to go around the other side of the big white hangar.
Get over.
Now here, when you get up here, you want to kind of poke around this turn really slow because you're not always going to know if somebody's coming out. This is a non-movement area, so they don't have to be talking to the tower. Yeah, we're clear. Right. So you just want to make sure somebody's not barreling down here because some people come all the way down here before they call them. You know, they don't. Their movement area stops at that line.
Getting back over there.
There you go.
We're going back down to your hangar?
Yep. Unless you want to do a few laps around to practice taxiing. I do that with new people a lot. We just do orbits around the hangars. And we'll start to get a feel for it. Because you really can't do a takeoff or landing until you got the net.
Yeah, I just got to get more aggressive with the... Too timid on it, it seems like right now.
That's fine.
Just got to jab it, huh?
It's just a matter of getting a feel for it. Sometimes it's just, if I'm kind of continuing turn, it's just a real light, I just kind of drag my foot on it. If I want to start a turn, I just give it a jab.
All right.
And then I'll jab back out. It really, you stop thinking about it at some point. You just figure out what works.
Right.
And of course, it helps a lot that we don't have any wind. You know, as you come across, these become wind tunnels as you come across there. If the wind's out of the west, which almost always is, it hits that tail, and right away it wants to jerk to the left or going the other way to the right. So you kind of learn to be ready as you go across these openings. I don't feel like, well, it doesn't feel like it's gotten any warmer at all.
Where are you at? You're,
Well, we're not even in this row. I thought we were just practicing. Go down here and turn left.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought you took me up on the offer to this practice a little bit.
No, I'm glad we did, though, because this is good to...
Oh, yeah, you have to get this. I mean, that's the first thing. I had been taxiing it for hours before I tried to fly it. Well, it wasn't legal to fly. It was legal to taxi.
Right. That's about the right kind of throttle to put in there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, whatever it takes.
All right.
The only thing is if you feel yourself holding it back, then you're just burning pads for no reason.
Yeah.
But you almost get in the habit of, on a tighter turn, you will automatically feed in another 100 RPM because you know you're going to lose a little bit to the brake.
Yeah.
Or the drag, even the drag of that nose wheel turning will slow you down.
Yeah.
So you do get a feel for it. Just all of it will come to you. It's just very different than a Cessna.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Well, and you haven't even flown that for how long, right?
Yeah, it's been 10 years anyway.
Yeah, so
shit, it's been 15 years, I think.
This is probably the best way for you to get back into it. This would make it's a wonderful train. We're going straight across, but you do want to take a look. And we're here. I'll get it from here because we got to come down here and make a turn.
Engine speed.
No kidding.
Oil pressure.
Yeah, that too. Big surprise.